This is the Cabrera Impeachment Complaint. Our endorsers are the Honorable Deputy Speaker Paolo Ortega and Congressman Benny Abante. DS Paolo Ortega is recognized to deliver his sponsorship speech. Maybe you can use Kong Chel's microphone first. Page, kindly address the microphone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Honorable Abante has agreed to let me experience the senior citizen lane, a courtesy lane for today's endorsement statement. Honorable Chairperson Gerville Luistro, honorable members of the Committee on Justice, our esteemed guests, public whom we serve, na imbaga bigat tayo amin na po. Tayo ay naging isang bansang labis ang pagkahati-hati hanggang sa makalimutan na natin ang pagdating sa paglilingkod sa bayan. Dapat managot ang sinuman o anumang kulay ng politika na kanyang kinakabilangan. Ang pananagutan ay nangangahulugang paglalantad sa mali at paglalabag sa matagal nang umiiral at patuloy na sumisira sa ating mga institusyon. Now is the moment ripe for remembrance that it was nearly 4 years ago that the Vice President stood before us, raised her hand, and pledged faithfully and conscientiously to fulfill her duties as the Vice President of our country, preserve and demand our Constitution, execute our laws, do justice for every man, and consecrate herself to the service of the nation. Nakakalungkot po na isipin na nakalipas na po ang halos 4 na taon mula nung ipahayag. Ang mga pangakong iyon ay mukhang hindi naman natutupad. Sa kasalukuyan, ang Vice Presidente ay nahaharap sa mga aligasyon at paratang ng pagtataksil sa tiwalang ipinagkaloob sa kanya ng taong bayan. Mga aligasyon na hinggil sa umiiral na kultura at panunuhol at ibang katiwalaang matagal nang sumisira sa integridad ng ating institusyon. Culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust, graft and corruption, at iba pang mabibigat na krimen. Under letter A, Sufficiency in form, Honorable Chairperson Luistro and the Honorable members of the Justice Committee, batay sa ating rules of procedure in impeachment proceedings, upon due referral, this committee shall determine whether the impeachment complaint is sufficient in form. Kaugnay nito, ang isang impeachment complaint ay kinakailangan na may kalakip na verification that the complainant has read the complaint and that the allegations are true and correct for his personal knowledge or based on authentic records. To this end, I invite the attention of the Honorable Committee to pages 71 and 72 of the verification page that the fourth impeachment complaint or the Cabrera complaint pursual of the pages show that this complaint has been duly verified by the complainant himself, Attorney Nathaniel G. Cabrera, on the 18th of February 2026, under oath that the complainant deposed that he read and understood the contents of the complaint and that the allegations of the complaint are true and correct based upon personal knowledge and based upon authentic documents of the same date, and the verification is also duly notarized. Page 70 of the fourth impeachment complaint shows that it was signed by Attorney Nathaniel Cabrera. Higit pa rito, bilang bahagi ng formal na proseso, ako at si Representative Bienvenido M. Abante Jr. ay pumasa ng isang resolution of endorsement dated February 18, 2026, duly subscribed and sworn before the Honorable Secretary General Attorney Cheloy E. Villacaria Garafil. Madam Chair, it is respectfully submitted that the fourth impeachment complaint of the Cabrera complaint is sufficient in form and that it be allowed to proceed to the next stage of the proceedings. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker Paolo Ortega. Our parliamentary status, we have concluded on the sponsorship speeches of the three remaining impeachment complaints. Those include the first impeachment complaint, referred to as Castro et al. Impeachment complaint. The third impeachment complaint, referred to as Father Sabalia et al. Impeachment complaint. And the fourth impeachment complaint, referred to as Cabrera Impeachment Complaint. I wish to state for the record and for the guidance of all the justice members who just came, the second impeachment complaint has been withdrawn already by the complainants. Now we shall proceed to determine the sufficiency in substance. For the guidance of all the members, form. I'm just testing if you are all listening. For the guidance of all the members, I wish to summarize the process that will happen in the Justice Committee into 5. The first step is the determination of sufficiency in form. The second step is the determination of the sufficiency in substance. The third step, which is subject to the condition that the impeachment complaints are declared sufficient both in form and in substance, we shall issue the notice to the respondent for her to file an answer within a period of 10 calendar days, in which case the complainant is given as well a period of 3 days to file their reply, and from the date of reply, receipt of reply, the respondent is likewise given the period of 3 calendar days to file their rejoinder. On this step 3, we will determine if there is sufficient basis that supports the impeachment complaint. If in the affirmative, we shall proceed to step 4, and that is the hearing proper, where we will be inviting the complainants, the witnesses, and even the respondents. After the hearing proper, we will decide on step 5. That is the determination of probable cause, the existence of probable cause, which shall be determined by the majority vote of all the members of the Justice Committee. That includes the ex officio members. The Honorable Abante. May we know the pleasure of the Honorable Abante? Would you like to make your endorsement also, sponsorship speech? I thought you gave that opportunity to DS Paolo Ortega. That's why I did not recognize you anymore. Nonetheless, let us hear the sponsorship speech of the Honorable Bishop Abante for the fourth impeachment complaint, that is Cabrera Impeachment Complaint. You may proceed.
Ay, iba. Oo.
Sound check.
Ay, ayan.
Ayan. Alright. Alright. Magandang umaga po, Madam Chair, distinguished colleagues, mga kababayan, ang mga kapwa ko endorsers. Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. Alam nyo, ako po'y mahilig maglagay ng titulo sa aking mga speeches. At ang title po ng aking speech today is Duty, Honor, Principle. Tatlo po yan. Martin Luther King Jr. said, and I quote, "The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people." End of quote. Madam Chair, there are moments in public life when silence is convenient, when silence is strategic, when silence is safer. But there are also moments when silence becomes complicity, when to look away is to participate, when to remain quiet is to permit the erosion of the very Constitution we swore to defend. I endorse this fourth impeachment complaint with Congressman Paolo Ortega, not out of anger, not out of partisanship, not out of personal animus. I endorse the fourth impeachment complaint because the allegations before us are grave and quite serious, because they strike at the heart of constitutional order, because they involve the alleged misuse of hundreds of millions in confidential funds, because they involve sworn affidavits, COA findings, documentary irregularities, and most chilling of all, public admissions that, if true, undermine the sanctity of lawful succession and the stability of government. We are not here to convict. We are not here to persecute. We are not even here to prejudge. We are here to determine sufficiency in form and sufficiency in substance. But allow me to stress that sufficiency is not a trivial threshold. It is a constitutional gate. And when credible, detailed, documented allegations are placed before us, allegations of betrayal of public trust, culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption, and other high crimes, this committee does not have the luxury of indifference, because public office is a public trust. These words are not ornamental, Madam Chair. They are not decorative language placed in our Constitution for ceremonial speeches. They are a command, a standard, a warning. When confidential funds are alleged to have been encashed in vast sums and liquidated in implausible time frames, when audit findings raise red flags, when sworn testimony describes physical transfers of cash outside normal channels, when public statements threaten the very officer's name in our Constitution, we cannot say this is inconvenient. We cannot say this is politically difficult. We cannot say let someone else handle it. Why? Because this is our constitutional duty. If the complaint is defective in form, we will say so. If it lacks ultimate facts, we will say so. If it fails the standard required by the Constitution, we will say so. But if it meets the threshold, if it alleges ultimate facts supported by sworn statements and documentary annexes sufficient to warrant investigation, then we must allow the process to proceed. For the power of impeachment, Madam Chair, my dear colleagues, is not a weapon. It is a safeguard. It is not vengeance. It is accountability. It is not politics. It is constitutional order at work. History will not ask whether this was politically comfortable. History will ask whether we were faithful to our oath. We swore to preserve and defend the Constitution, not selectively, Madam Chair, not conditionally, not when it is convenient. If we remain silent in the face of serious allegations against one of the highest officials of the land, then we are not neutral. we are negligent. This hearing is not about personalities. It is about principle. It is not about ambition. It is about accountability. It is not about 2028. It is about 1987, the Constitution that binds us all. Let us therefore proceed with sobriety, as I beg this committee right now, Madam Chair. Let us proceed with fairness. Let us proceed without fear, because in the end, we answer not only to our colleagues, not only to our constituents, but to history and to God. As Scripture reminds us in Micah 6:8, and I quote, He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. End of quote. Madam Chair, my dear colleagues, may we do justly, may we love mercy, and may we walk humbly as we discharge this solemn constitutional duty. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Abante. That finally concludes our sponsorship speeches.